conversation. That's perfectly fine. Saquon, okay, if you want to lead into it, feel free, Kyle. But
so I just jumped into this conversation. I don't really I understand what's going on here, but I don't really understand. I kind of already know where I'm leaning in this conversation, but what brought up this running back debate? Where are we going with it?
So right now,
What's the
basically, we're
premise?
having a conversation on the top 5 running backs in the league because Kyle had posed something. People who tricked you, people who have treated you, talking about last week 8. And one of the players, and 2 of the players actually, one was Bijan, one was Jonathan Taylor. We'll get into more reasons why a little later in the pod. But
huge spoiler alert.
Huge spoiler alert. Huge spoiler alert. There's for me. There's a couple. one's that. We'll get into reasons why, for what, and how later on. But then it got me thinking of who are the top 5 backs in the league. Because then someone like James Cook who would instantly be like, he has to be a top 5 guy, but that he's not. Like to me, he's just like, he can't be, because
How
I
can
think
he be?
Because I think Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, and Saquon Barkley are all better than him.
I would take Cook over Saquon. I think he runs.
I would say Cook for sure has been the better back than Saquon this year.
Okay, that's different. He's been the better back this year, but that doesn't mean he's instantly the better player, and that's where the debate for us is coming.
So you got to take a year to year with the NFL. You got to take a year to year with the NFL.
Are you taking Drake May over? Are you taking Drake May over Lamar or Drake May over Josh Allen? Drake May has been better than Josh Allen clearly this year. Are we taking him over?
At week 7, well, that's a little different. Quarterback play is a little different to me than running back play. Because running back play, quarterback play, all right, Drake May hasn't played the schedule necessarily.
Taking Jackson Smith and Jigba over Justin Jefferson.
That's
not crazy.
That's crazy if you are.
Not crazy.
This year?
Okay.
But this year,
if you could start your team, you would draft JSN 1.
Sure.
Well, that's a completely different argument.
That's completely different argument because that's quarterback. Listen. Wide receivers quarterback dependent. That's always going to change. We've seen that with Jamar Chase from this year to last year, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's obviously going to be different if you got Flacco and Jake Browning rather than Joe Burrow.
100%.
And, of course, running back is very much O-line dependent.
100%.
That being said, none of us were high on the Colts. None of us were high on Daniel Jones. And look what he's doing with Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's been that dude before. He had a good season last year. He had a monster season. What was it, 2.5 seasons ago, maybe?
Yeah, a few seasons back. He had 1,800.
Undoubtedly the best back through 8 weeks, 7 weeks, however many games they played.
No argument.
And if that doesn't change, he's going to have an absolutely historic season to where, in my opinion, he should be in MVP conversations
100%
this season.
He's 2 games 100%. Away from breaking 1,000 yards. And it's week 9.
Yeah, so I
agree with all of this.
It's not even a debate. Really, what are we talking about here? When it comes to Saquon, when it comes to CMC, who you could take Saquon last year before that would have been CMC. It's without a doubt Jonathan Taylor this year.
I'm not arguing.
And he's gonna be everyone's number 1 in fantasy going next year. So I mean,
maybe
I don't really see what.
Sure, I say maybe. Maybe because if you see what happened. Oh, absolutely. He'll be a top 5 pick instead of the 12th pick this year. He'll be a top 3 pick next year instead of the 12th pick this year. Absolutely. I agree with everything. 15. I mean, it depends on which league you're in. But I agree with everything that you're saying. I am not talking like this season. James Cook has been a better back than Saquon. I don't think that James Cook is actually better than Saquon Barkley, because if I was going to draft a guy for this season specifically, I am still taking Saquon Barkley.
That's cool.
Because I think he is better.
That's cool, but here's the thing that we don't know going forward. We can actually kind of look ahead and, project this with Saquon. We can say maybe that the next 3 years will be not injury riddled, but okay, Saquon might miss some games. James Cook early in his career has been largely healthy and for sure has been a top. I don't know how you can really argue he hasn't been a top 5 back this year. James Cook.
So there's we're having 2 separate conversations. That's what I'm trying. If you're saying yes, if I'm projecting long term, then I'm fine with James Cook because Saquon Barkley has had injury history in the past. Like, that has been something he has dealt with for a long period of time, and running backs don't have the longest of shelf lives. They have used James Cook in a way to where he doesn't have to run 25 to 30 times a game. So the longevity of him, I do agree, you have a better outlook longevity-wise with James Cook than with Saquon Barkley. But for the 2025-2026 season, because you're going into the Super Bowl, if I had a pick right now and you're telling me to draft a team for the rest of the season, even off of what they've done, I'm still drafting Saquon because I think he is the better running back. He still has more explosion than James Cook. And
James Cook got a lot of explosive
James
plays.
Cook has explosive, but he does not jump cut and move like Saquon Barkley.
Not in a literal sense, but we could have said that about Bijan, and really, this is the first year Bijan's really popped like that.
But, I mean, he had 1,400 last year. He had almost 1,800 all-purpose yards last year. Sure. Bijan Robinson was great, and Bijan Robinson, if you took him one, I would be fine with it because his talent as the running back is insane, as Christian McCaffrey will tell you, as when he worked out with him this offseason. Saquon Barkley has told you. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Player to this season is where the argument is.
Here's the thing. You're giving me plenty of arguments for someone like Saquon. You're not giving me any argument against James Cook, though.
I'm not arguing against it because I understand that he's a really good player, but I just said Saquon is a more explosive back than James Cook. That's why I would take Saquon.
But if we're talking James Cook top 5, and you got to give me something to take him out, not really give me anything to take him out either is what I'm saying.
I'm taking him out because Saquon's a better back than him. That's why I'm taking him out.
I think this year,
debatable.
I honestly think James Cook has looked better. I think he has been more explosive than Saquon.
And he's had bigger holes. He has not been touched at the line of scrimmage as much as Saquon has.
He has read the defense better than Saquon.
He also, kinda. Yeah, Saquon's been getting hit a lot behind the line this year, but the explosion is still there.
James Cook had 216.
My argument that I was making
Saquon ran for 150 and left the game early.
Yeah, against the Giants. They fucking suck. They're terrible.
And the Panthers are good? We're going to make the Panthers see.
No. Only thing I was going to say was defense with Derek Brown has been very good.
Has been good. Only thing I was going to say is he had 216. Same thing you said, Keenan, that Saquon could have got more. James Cook coasted to that 216. It could have. Yeah, it seemed like he was on his way to 300.
And Rico Dowdle has 200 this year. Is Rico Dowdle now better than Saquon too?
No, but James Cook.
James Cook is really good. I have him as the 6th best back in the league. I think he's really good.
The rapper Jaquan has been the best back in the league.
Jaquan Daddle, when I won the spot.
James Cook, though, I mean, this is why I love debates, and this is why I think it's more valid in football than any other sport that you can say year to year, and maybe baseball's like this too. I really don't know. I'm kind of getting back into my baseball kick in this World Series. But
yeah, me too.
Player for player, it's going to be hard to argue to say like James Cook wasn't not only a top 5, maybe even a top 4 back this year as time goes on. Right now, I mean, he's just been one of these surest bets, not only to get in the end zone, but to produce not just yardage, but big time yardage. And Saquon has not, outside of this past week, been that. That's all. And he might rip it up the second half of this year.
Well, absolutely. I mean, that comes down to scheme. That comes down to having Josh. I mean, he has Jalen Hurts too, so I'm not trying to make it seem like the situation that Saquon and James Cook are in are like they're different, but they're obviously like situations in the way that their offensive line's constructed, the way that their quarterbacks can run dual threats. So like that's fine. And so like these guys, I would say right now are obviously 2 of the best backs in the league. It's not like I'm saying James Cook is bad. I think James Cook right now is the 6th best running back. And I think that Saquon is a top 5 guy.
I'd put him 4. I'd take him over CMC as well. Because if we're talking about running backs, he's a better runner right now than CMC is.
He's a more explosive runner. See, he is a more explosive runner than Christian McCaffrey, but Christian McCaffrey is a much better receiving back.
Well, yeah, that's the biggest thing is they're using CMC. Again, that comes down to scheme. They're using CMC as their wide receiver 1 because they don't have a wide receiver. It's just Kittle and CMC going back and forth.
Yeah, and absolutely. And so that's where it comes down to as well, but I don't know if James Cook can do that. And like, I'm not sure. I think that he could get catches, but I'm not sure if you could actually line him up in the slot and comfortably and say like, hey, go. The same way they're doing with Bijan at times, the same way you have seen in the past. They don't really do it that much anymore, but they have them with Saquon in the past. So I think it's an interesting conversation, and all of it's interesting. And I'm not like upset or anything right now. I just think it's a fun conversation to have because I'm also in the point of I think Jackson Smith-Njigba is great. I would not take him over Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson if I had to take it.
Receivers completely different. Receivers completely different than QB and running back, though. Like, that's completely depending on who's giving you the rock. It's one of those that you can make the argument.
Somewhat. Because DeAndre Hopkins had bad quarterbacks, and I still thought he was the best receiver in the game because he was.
That's what I was about to say. Like, you can make the argument when you've got subpar quarterbacking and you're still producing. Like, that was the argument for Josh Gordon back in the day. He had that one monster season, and he had nobody throwing to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, D-Hop, he had. I don't want to shortchange him. He had some. I think he had Schaub, right? Was that Andre?
He had Andre. He had Kyler, but it was Davis Mills. It was Brian Hoyer. It was Brock Osweiler. It was a whole lot of nothing for DeAndre Hopkins, and he was getting over 1,000.
I want to say that with Kyler because Kyler was actually like
no. Kyler is the guy I'm saying like outside of Kyler. Kyler was actually him in the Kyler situation because everyone was happy. It was like, wow, he finally has a quarterback who has like the ability to throw. Kyler hasn't been up to number 1 pick level, but he also has been a guy you're like, oh, he's a able-bodied quarterback that can throw. Like next year, he's going to start for a team, even if it's not the Cardinals. He will be a starter next year. So, where a lot of the guys he was playing with are just like 33rd best quarterbacks in the league because they're all backups. But so like that's kind of the point of it. Where I know Justin Jefferson's not having the same year that these other guys are having, but he's still obviously very good, and I'm taking him 1. Justin Jefferson is he's trying to be on. He's on top 5 wide receiver of all time pace with the yardage and the numbers he's putting up. So like he's still that guy, and that's kind of where the conversation comes in with me, where I can't say if I don't think that Saquon has taken a step back. I don't think that he's just gone from the first best running back in the league to 6 just because of that's the thing for me.
What you just said, though, people could make the argument he has taken a step back. He's certainly not
taken half a step back.
And if you do, then if you do think that he has taken a step back, then that's the argument why you would think guys like Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, who you had a lap behind him last year, definitely better than him this year. I personally, after watching last game, don't think he has taken a step back because the jump cuts, the explosion, and everything is there. So I don't think it's that. I just think that the Eagles have been a very wishy-washy offense, as you guys have pointed out all year long, and you have none of you guys have like the play calling that's been going on there for the majority of the season, and that's obviously going to hinder on Saquon Barkley. And people are like, Jalen Hurts won't beat us, or it is going to be the best case for us to win, so we're going to sell out to stop the run. So I think that that's also a thing, because even the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, Saquon only ran for 40, 50 yards. He didn't have to because of the fact of, but
well, yeah, they were playing with half a field too. They were often playing with
no, they were playing at times, but they were also really selling out to stop the run, basically saying, "Hey, Jalen Hurts, you're going to beat us today," and he did. And I mean, the defense also balled out, and they held him down. So it's just interesting how people scheme and everything. So obviously, I agree with you guys. James Cook and Jonathan Taylor have both been better so far through the duration of the season. I think Saquon is better than James Cook. Jonathan Taylor is fine. If you want to say he's better, that's fine. I understand. Hey,
last thing I would say in favor of Cook, though, too, they play through James Cook more so than they play through Josh Allen. They kind of play inside out.
They play the run.
So that would be my case for him. He has been, you just never see him getting tackled, 3 yards for a loss. It always seems like it's 4 yards here plus explosion, especially this year. Like, he's just had a monster year. But
he's been phenomenal. He's been phenomenal, and he's easily been top 4 production this year. Easily. It's been him, Bijan, Christian McCaffrey, and Jonathan Taylor, not in that order. And then Jahmyr Gibbs would probably be 5th. Roughly. I mean, it depends. If you're talking wide, just running, Christian McCaffrey would be out and Jahmyr Gibbs. But if you're adding the receiving end, McCaffrey's been there. It's been interesting. It's been a really good year.
This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not.
But welcome to the Warner Brothas Podcast. My name is Keaton, joined by Timmy, joined by Kyle. We were having this conversation. Kyle said, put the red light on. Let's talk about it. So we were talking.
Had an old school cold open.
Yeah, so we were.
Old school Warner Brothas Podcast cold open.
Yeah, so we haven't had one of those in a minute. So fun conversation to have. It's nice when you have these conversations, no animosity or anything. We're just chilling, having a fun time. How you guys doing today?
Not too bad.
Good. I was talking to Timmy, Kyle, and I think I'm like trying to get back into baseball. Like I think I might be. This World Series has made me want to like almost locked me into getting back into baseball a little bit. It's been a really good series so far.
I kind of feel the same too. I always try to watch the postseason. I always try to watch the World Series, especially if it's two teams that interest me.
Yeah.
And I watched a good amount of Dodgers Yankees last year, but honestly, like it has not piqued my interest like Dodgers Blue Jays has, and I got it on right now. I think we had game one on while game one on while we were doing our NBA pod, and then when me and Brandon were doing our picks.
Yep.
And that was a fun game, and I'm like, oh, I'm definitely gonna watch tomorrow, right? And then game two was also a fun game, and game three was a classic, and then game four, I wouldn't have expected it, but the Blue Jays shelled Ohtani. And the Blue Jays, I definitely didn't expect this. Blue Jays are up early. They put 2 runs on in the first, and they're up 2-0, now going to the bottom of the third. So it's been an extremely fun series. I don't know if I'll ever be even an 80 game a year type of watcher for MLB. I'll probably only be postseason, but this has been the most fun I've had since probably, I don't know, that 2013 Red Sox run.
This is
the last time I really watched like that.
This has been a series that last year we felt could have been. Obviously, you have the stars of the Yankees, the stars of the Dodgers, Judge, Betts, Ohtani, all of them. But like this year, not that I don't want to make it sound like the Blue Jays don't have stars. They have stars on it, especially with the way Vlad's been playing this year. But this has really captivated me. And even before game threes, the epic game three, because that had, if you were going to watch baseball for the first time, I wouldn't suggest watching all of innings 10 through. I'd watch the highlights of 10 through 18 just so you didn't have to be on the edge of your seat for 6 hours. But
first
1 through 9 was insane. And then Kershaw comes in the bottom 12 and he says, hey, let me get us out of this. And then Freeman sends it yard 18. But I did give a little bit of a foreshadow to what kind of my thoughts on one portion of it. But we got Halloween here in a couple days, and Kyle, I'm gonna let you take it away because you proposed this to us. So we got Halloween in a couple days.
Yeah, 'tis the season. It's Halloween. It's our last podcast before Halloween, most likely. So I figured, hey, let's keep it Halloween themed. Let's do a trick or treat. Let's pick each of us going to pick 2 players. Excuse me, 1 player that tricked us, 1 player that treated us this past Sunday, and we're each going to pick a team that tricked or treated us this past Sunday. So in total, you'll have 6 players, 6 teams, or excuse me, 6 topics overall, 3 players, 3 teams.
And you might get a little bonus segment because at first I thought Kyle wanted it for talking about the year. So I've got players and teams for the year. So you might get a little bonus after this as well. But without further ado, Timmy, start it off.
Pick one.
Pick one.
I was
just
gonna
go.
say, if you had one you wanted.
No, pick one.
Player trick. This has kind of been a theme for 2 weeks now. But I got Baker Mayfield, guys. We were talking about this man as an MVP caliber player. In these last 2 weeks, he has missed quite a few throws that were pivotal throws. Like in the game against, I don't remember who they played 2 weeks ago.
Lions,
yes, prime time. He underthrew Egbuka like twice. That could have both been touchdowns. He missed another one in the end zone to another receiver. That was an open touchdown. He's just missing throws. And then I saw quite a few this weekend against the Saints, not the greatest defense in the league. They won 23-3, but they could have won 35-3 if they really just dialed in a few throws. So I think if he plays like 2 more bad games, I think he kind of like pushes him out of the MVP running. just because there's other QBs playing better right now. So
for his MVP's sake, this next 3 games is his most important stretch. And I understand that he has a light end to the season and that he can rack up the wins. But a lot of those games aren't going to be like, they're just games against bad teams. Like, he sees the Panthers a couple times. Like, you'll see teams like that to where you'll be like, okay, Baker Mayfield's having a really good season, but it's those marquee games and those marquee spots where you really make your name for MVP. And that was what he was doing early. I know it was obviously there was so many comebacks. It was the big plays. It was you got to have it on 3rd and 14, and I'm going to run for the 3rd and 14 and then throw a strike on the next play. Like, those are the things that Baker was doing early, and that was what was getting him really that MVP buzz. But the next 3 games, he sees the Patriots coming off of the bye. That's in Tampa. And then he sees the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. And then afterwards, he sees the Los Angeles Rams on Sunday night. And if they go 2-1 over that stretch and he has great games in all 3 of them, and then just for the rest of the season kind of coasts, as long as there's not someone who ascends over him, he definitely will be one of the easy finalists to win MVP.
Yeah, interesting pick. I was not expecting you to go here.
I wasn't either.
I do want to say this, like, with Baker, I'm not too worried as far as his like MVP campaign. We've seen MVPs have hiccups all throughout the year, here and there, whatever. So 2 games back to back when the Bucs aren't the most healthy, I'm not too worried about that. What I do want to say, and this isn't to Tim and Baker Mayfield, this is more to the NFL fandom at large. I have not seen aside from Baker, where people are like kind of jumping on that bandwagon, like, oh man, this could be an MVP guy, right? Which Warner Brothas Podcast had that first. Keenan had it first. Brandon Petty was also on that train too. I haven't seen a lot of MVP talk through the first 8 weeks. Like, I feel like I'm just now this week really starting to see more MVP talk. And I'm like, that's good. Great. That's great. I feel like it's usually after week 2, people are like, is it the year for such and such? Ooh, Dodgers just went yard. 2-1. There we go.
What's up, Hernandez?
Kiki. So
do you love
compare that to the NBA. I don't know how Tim got me on an NBA tangent, but he's about to get it. Bro, I'm not kidding, through 3 games, I've seen people say it's a 2-man race for Rookie of the Year between Cooper Flagg and Edgecombe. I've seen people say
Harper's been better than Flagg. What are we talking about?
I've seen people talk about MVP. I've seen people talk about, like, is it time to trade Embiid? Is it time to take a detour on this team? Oh, the Celtics aren't good yet. I'm like, dog, it's 3 games. You cannot have any idea. This whole season's going to look different 2 weeks from now, let alone 6 weeks from now. Yeah. So I just want to say congrats to the NFL fandom. And, maybe I could be wrong. Maybe ESPN and Fox Sports have been different, but I really, truly have not seen. I was just thinking about this today. I haven't seen anything as far as NFL MVP. Maybe aside from a little Stafford chatter here and Baker Mayfield chatter.
It hasn't been like infectious, like that infectious, because it's more been like Baker love that you don't really see all that often. Yes. So it's been like he's the front runner for MVP as of right now. It's like you'll say that, but it's not really segments. It's more so a comment within a segment talking about the Bucs, which is much better than just having a who's your MVP right now. Because guys, whoever the MVP is, like right now, obviously, if we had an MVP that ended today in the NBA, it would be Victor Wembanyama. But good thing is we've played we've played about 6% of all the games. So unfortunately, that's probably not going to last.
We've got literally every single week left of the NBA to go.
We literally have every single week. If your ballot right now would be Wemby, Giannis, Steph, probably. Like, that's are you kidding me? Guys, calm down. We don't need all of that.
I like how Keenan just poo-poo the argument and then also gave his argument for his top 3 through week 1.
I wouldn't say give an argument. I just gave 3 names because all of those teams are playing well. Bucks Warriors, though, tomorrow night. It's going to be a good game. Also, sorry, Tim. I'm really sorry before we do it. 11 o'clock NBC start.
Yeah, it's retarded. It's ridiculous.
Insane.
It's like
carry
that
on.
Fucking Monday Night Football game that started at 10 p.m. Eastern the other week.
Yeah, it was because they had the double slate, and it was the Bucks early, And then they had the Bucks Lions early, and then it was Texans Seahawks late. They said
10 o'clock.
They said, "Hey, watch this game until 1 a.m. and go to your job."
That's fine.
Thanks. 11 o'clock is insane. I thought it was a misprint. I was like, "There's no way it starts at 11. There's not a chance it starts at 11." But anyways, basketball.
Give me a player who tricked you.
I was going to say that's basketball. Player who tricked me, kind of alluded to it already, guys. Bijan Robinson tricked me. Oh, why did he trick me? I was like, okay, he's playing the piss poor Miami Dolphins. He's going to go off. Because why wouldn't he go off? They don't play defense well. They don't defend the run well at all. Give me Bijan overs. He's going to get a touchdown. This game's going to just be out of hand, and it was out of hand, but just on the opposite end, because Bijan did absolutely nothing. He did nothing. He was the player that shocked me the most, or tricked me the most, because I thought he was going to have a treat and treat himself to a bad Dolphins defense, and I was tricked.
I feel like we almost can't allow this to be the trick, because he did this 3 weeks ago against the Panthers, where they also shut him down. When you take it like this, you just got to say the whole damn team. You got to say the whole offense sucked. I was saying in the group chat the night before that Kirk Cousins was going to feed families, and that man looked inept. Like the whole thing. I get it, Drake London's not there, but this is the Dolphins. They've got half their defense off the street, and you can't gain more than 200 yards of offense. That's pitiful.
So if you need me to give you another one, I got a quick name, but Kyle, you go first, so I don't want to take your name.
No, let's hear
it. There's a couple names, but the one that I'm going to give is Caleb Williams. Tricked me just a hair. Just a hair, because I was like, if he could have just on 4th down at the 1 yard line on his last pass of the game through a touchdown, I would have hit a bet. I had them plus 10. Felt comfortable.
I would have beat Kyle if that happened.
Felt comfy. Felt comfy. Was like, hey, even if the Ravens do win this game, it will be a 23-16 kind of Ravens muck it up slog. Nope, 30-16. All right, Caleb, what do you got? Hey, Jaden Daniels last year, you know what we saw from him? Magic. He took a Commanders to the NFC Championship. I almost said National Championship. The NFC Championship game. Okay, Bo Nix, what did you do? Took your team to the playoffs. You played phenomenal this week. Drake May, what have you done? Oh, you're top 3 MVP candidate right now. You've been great. Michael Penix, it's been okay. Not the number 1 pick he wasn't the number 1 pick overall, though. Caleb, what are we doing? 25 of 38 for 285 in 1 pick. Cool yardage. Just not going to get it done against a Ravens team that has Tyler Huntley. I understand that they needed the win, but you needed the win as well. You're in a loaded NFC. You're in a loaded division, and you said, hey, we don't need it. Tricked. I was tricked.
I got to say, so actually, Tim, I'll let you go. You go ahead and then I'll go.
Sure. With the Caleb Williams thing, I thought he would do better because the Ravens had been pretty bad at defense lately. Now, coming off the bye, I guess they've had like a turnaround internally in the franchise, and they're all kind of locked in. Kyle, you remember that post I sent you about they said that they took out all the games from the locker room, ping pong out of there, Xbox is out of there? That was because of Lamar. He's the one who told them to do that, I guess. So I think this team is kind of locked in and they're ready to go. So understandably, I was worried about this game. I didn't want to start Caleb Williams, but I was forced to because fantasy football is tough. I kind of thought that the defense would be good, and Caleb Williams is not good under pressure. That's been his biggest flaw, I think. Through 2 seasons, he's been pretty bad under pressure, taking a lot of sacks, making bad judgment throws, and that's kind of what it was. Kyle Hamilton was all over him. There's nothing.
It's the definition of doing too much.
Yeah, that's like real.
It's just the definition of doing too much. And I'm going to talk about this. I won't let Kyle talk, and I'm going to bring up a point that I really like.
Yeah, man, Caleb. So he was gonna be one of my trick or treats under the trick, like possibly.
Apologize.
No. I'm glad you did, because the reason why I probably wasn't gonna use him is because that's been his whole career, is trick or treat, and more trick than treat. Man, I can remember 2 years ago us talking before the draft and me not knowing anything outside of, and this was even before I saw Caleb Williams highlights. The names I'd heard was Mahomes and Rodgers, and that was almost all I needed for me to be scared. And it was my whole thing. I was like, look, if it's really gonna go in any order, these three quarterbacks, talking about May, Williams, and Daniels, I'm like, hey, 2 out of the 3 are probably either going to be okay, but like more often than not, like one of those 3 for sure is going to be bad. And it's kind of why I was worried about Drake May, whatever. But so far, it's been Caleb. And so far, he's trending more towards what Kyler Murray is right now, rather than what Kyler Murray is earlier in his career, as we talked about Kyler earlier with D-Hop. That's why I didn't mean to laugh, Keen. I kind of laughed when you said you had a little bit of money on Caleb Williams, because it's like, I've been bit on that too. I think everyone's been bit on that. I think actually the only time I've honestly put money on Caleb Williams was his very first start against the Titans last year. And then I don't think I ever really, I'd have to think about it, but I did. I got burned on the Hail Mary game against the Commanders last year. I had him in that. I think that's the last time I took Caleb in the Bears. And
he won't be in anything.
He is just completely unreliable. And I don't know what that means for his career. I really don't, because there's enough there talent-wise to where you're like, all right, like I see it. He also doesn't make the traditional mistakes you see young QBs do. He's not like necessarily throwing like 4 picks here. He's not throwing a ton of picks as much as he's like comfortably in the pocket and then wants to roll out and make it difficult on himself. I've never seen a quarterback who wants to make life as difficult as he does. Like, he will take the easy play and turn it into like a 10 out of 10 difficult play.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen that with a quarterback. So I'm very interested to see where he is in week 14, because if he's continuing this trending towards the back half of the season and into next season, whether that's playoffs, whether that's the off season, regardless, I want to know where that leaves him, because the talent's always going to be there. But if you can't do simple things like just take a check down, I don't think Ben Johnson's going to have much patience for that. And he'll definitely get a second act, whether that's as a Bears backup or whether that's, in someone else's training camp. But his mistakes are so far and wide different than what we see out of other young QBs.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with that. And I've been, again, if you switch Michael Penix and Caleb Williams' draft spot and the exact same career goes on, so far you'd be like, okay, Caleb not that bad. But when you're sold this, when you're sold Mahomes, when you're sold that, that's when the disappointment comes in. Same thing with Trevor. If you flip Trevor and made him this 12th pick in the draft, you'd be like, okay, solid quarterback. He's fine. Like, he's not great. He's not gonna really be a force multiplier. But you know what? He makes some plays, and he can start week to week for me, and I'm gonna be on the edge of my seat, either in despair or he'll make some plays. But when you're sold Andrew Luck, you're like, okay, well, this guy's got to be Andrew Luck, and then they become a super disappointment, and that's what the thing is so difficult to know in the NFL. And one more point before we move on to the next thing was I was watching old Brady highlights. I watched 2001 starting Brady highlights. I've been on like a Brady kick of watching old games and old highlights of him. He just, a quarterback play, they just played sound. They just tried to play sound. They were like, I'm not going to make the big mistakes. I'm going to just take what the defense gives me. And sometimes that's all you need. It took, Mahomes was obviously phenomenal out the gate, but it took Mahomes a little bit to realize that too. Like, let me just take what the defense gives me. Like 4 years ago, Mahomes on last year's team, they're not getting to the Super Bowl. Just won't happen because he would have taken too many shots. They would have thrown too many picks, and that team he wouldn't have realized that, hey, my defense is good enough. He would have tried to push the ball down the field, but he went through stints and he realized, okay, a sack is better than anything else on this play. Like, I can take, like, a punting in field position is okay on this possession. Like, that was okay. So once he realizes that, hopefully he'll be good. But Caleb Williams, fun.
Caleb Williams.
Kyle, who do you have? Who'd you have?
This one's not so much someone that burned me or someone who like I really had expectations. It's more something that I wanted to happen. Tim already alluded to him actually, and it's Kirk Cousins. Maybe we should have known better.
Dirk
if
Cousins?
Y'all actually heard, what's up?
I said Dirk Cousins.
Cousins. You're right. If you actually heard me talk on to your Bijan point, Keen, like when me and Brandon were going through these picks, it's one of the games that scared me. Like a lot of the games that I was 50-50 on, I didn't place money on, so I'm more mad just straight up on picks. I should have just went the other way because it would have done me some good. And the Dolphins was one of them. However, if you would have told me how the Dolphins win that game, I would have said, and I think I did say it, it's a dome game. It's going to be a shootout, right? And then the fact that it's Kirk Cousins, maybe you can get a pick or two, whatever. Like, I thought it was going to be points. I didn't think they'd shut Bijan down like that. But to Kirk Cousins, I'm like, all right, when he started to go down, I think after week 12, 13 last year was when his production started to dip. It was because of a shoulder injury that was very lightly reported. Yeah. They bench him for Penix late in the year, too late, probably 2 weeks too late. And we saw it. Like, they wouldn't let him throw down the field. They had no confidence in him at all for, like, deep routes or anything, comeback routes, whatever. And he comes back. I'm like, all right, he had a full offseason. He had a training camp. They felt comfortable enough to put him in there. Like, some zips had to have come back. No, he's completely washed. Like,
he fell off a cliff.
We've thrown around a few times this year and probably last year, like, such and such is one of the best backup QBs in the league. Kirk Cousins, healthy Kirk Cousins should be the very best backup in the league.
Easy.
So I'm thinking at the least, we're actually going to get a fun game. And Tim, I said in the group chat, you said Kirk Cousins was going to feed families. And I said, let him have a good game tomorrow. And I've got a better take for you. I was prepared to come on here and say, if he had a good game, that maybe he goes back to the Vikings. And maybe he finishes the season out with the Vikings because they seem to be searching for anything at QB. And no, I don't think Kirk Cousins will be in the NFL next year. And if it is, it's just to collect even more checks. So I got tricked by the thought of maybe a Kirk Cousins revival.
So Kyle, since November 3rd of last year, his last good game, that was against the Cowboys. The Falcons at that point were 6-3. 6-3. He has thrown one touchdown to 10 picks. Or sorry, 6, 8. Sorry, to 9 picks. He's 2-9.
He had 2 outstanding games against the Buccaneers last year.
Oh, he played phenomenal against the Bucs, and then the week after he played the Cowboys, and he had 7 touchdowns to 0 picks and almost 500 yards, a 79% completion percentage over those 2 games against the Bucs and the Cowboys. And something happened after that Cowboys game. I don't know what happened. The Monstars took his talent because from that game last year, November 3rd, to right now, he has 1 touchdown to 9 picks and has played some of the worst football I've seen a quarterback who was once good play. He hasn't had a passer rating he's had a passer rating of 81, and that was last week. Last week was arguably his best game as a starter since.
Kirk Cousins, Dirk Cousins.
He had said to, I think it was pregame to the media, it might have been during the week, that he was excited to get a start because he thought he could still get a starting job in the league.
Nope.
Not anymore, Kirk. You kind of sealed the deal, man. I think it's over. I think you just take your guaranteed money. You take your nearly $500 million that they've paid this man to play quarterback in the NFL, and you just go have a nice Christian life with your family. So call it.
You
good,
like
man.
that? You like that?
So, get ready to learn studio analyst, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. He's literally like the next Matt Ryan.
I was going to say, Kirk, Andy, they might need to be looking, Carson, they might need to be a media deal. They might be looking for media.
I actually can't fault Carson Wentz. I can't fault him if he was going injured into that game and they set him up for failure.
I fault Minnesota for that. There was 8 times in the game that they should have taken him out, and they never did.
So I agree. So I agree that absolutely that last game's on Minnesota, and maybe it was the shoulder. So I'll give Carson a pass. But towards the back half, it wasn't looking good. It just wasn't looking good. And it might have been the shoulder even before in like the Philly game. Because even in Cleveland, he was okay. He was pretty solid in Cleveland. But then that Philly game was bad. And then last week was horrendous. And I'll give him the pass on the shoulder. So Carson doesn't need to find a media deal. But 6 starts for 6 teams in 6 years is an insane stat. That's insane. All right, Timmy, who was a treat? What player was a treat for you?
One that I wasn't expecting. I honestly thought the Jets would like turn over and just die, and that's why I kind of thought for fantasy football the Bengals would be a good defense to start. Not necessarily Justin Fields here. I think Breece Hall looked pretty damn good. If you take away the first half, he looked bad. Like if you look at the first half, he wasn't looking that hot. Then he just started breaking big chunk runs. He looked like rookie year Breece Hall, where everybody kind of like everybody was on him. Thought that he was going to be a good back. I think that might have earned him a trade out. The problem with the trade, and I've always pushed back on the trade idea, is because I think if any team trades for him, they're going to offer like a 5th round pick or a 4th round pick. And if he were to just leave in free agency, the Jets would get a compensatory pick that's probably a 3rd round pick if he signs a big enough contract. So it's more beneficial for them to just say, no, let's just bench him for the year and then get a compensatory pick when he leaves. That right there might have said to a team, hey, I'm worth a 4th and a 5th round pick, or a 4th and a 6th or something like that, enough to make it worthwhile for the Jets to let him go. He looked pretty damn good, and I think a team like Kansas City can use him because he is a pass-catching back as well. You can use him in both facets of the game. You don't have to just let him run. He looked very good for what everybody was expecting the Jets to just die in this game, and they stayed alive, and a lot of it was because of Breece.
I agree with that 100%. I think Breece looked really good. Shout out to Justin Fields for, I think, getting the 2nd win when the team scores 20 points or more. So shout out to that for Justin Fields. But Breece threw for a touchdown, 18 for $133, 2 touchdowns, 2 catches, 14 yards. He was doing a little bit of everything in this game. So shout out to Breece.
What a call on that halfback pass, by the way. That was in crunch time. And Aaron Glenn's line.
They got nothing else to play for. Why not?
Aaron Glenn is a sicko, quote unquote.
He's a sick man. Yeah, no,
he's a sick man.
If that goes anywhere else but, into a receiver's hands, like I don't even know what I would do if I was a Jets fan.
It barely went. He had to moss him to get it. He had to reach over his back to make the catch. Yeah. So it should have been bad.
Shout out to Chase Brown in that game, though, with one of the most heads-up plays I've seen in a while. They ran a flea flicker in that game. He noticed that Joe Flacco was pretty much getting hit with a defender in his lap. So instead of actually flicking it back to him, he ended up just taking it and running. Like he went to do it. He saw it. He was like, no, I'm just going to go run, and ran for 11 yards, I believe. It was 10 or 11. Shout out to him, because that was like a play that you don't ever see, because typically you're like, okay, I'm just going to throw it back. If he throws it back, it might have been pick 6. No, probably not 6 because there was a guy there, but it would have absolutely been caught.
Fumble 6, yeah. They would have taken it.
It would have been like, so shout out to Chase Brown for that. But yeah, that was a good, I like Breece. I like the Breece Hall. I had one guy. And Kyle, you go first on this one. I'm gonna let you go first.
Oh, as far as a player that treated us, no, you go ahead, because I think you're gonna use my player if we're judging by what you said. Is it Jonathan Taylor for you?
No, I had one guy, and then I switched the guy because I thought to myself, I was like, there was another guy that really impressed me that I think should get some shine.
Let me wax poetic on Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, you talk about John.
This is just basically going to be my MVP pitch for Jonathan Taylor, because this does remind me through 8 weeks of 2 years ago when the QB play was close enough to where you make an argument for CMC. I think through 8 weeks, Jonathan Taylor has been the best player in the NFL. You could also make an argument for Myles Garrett, but of course he's not going to win MVP. having 5 sacks against the Pats. That was insane. I should actually probably use him as my treat. But Jonathan Taylor has been so Hall of Fame level consistent, not just consistent. We've seen consistency out of him. We've seen big plays out of him. We've seen him be a top 5 back, but he has cemented himself this year. I mean, this is what led our whole conversation. To me, he's undoubtedly the best running back in the NFL right now and going forward, probably. And you got to give him some MVP love. If he's going to score 2 touchdowns a week, and like Tim said, he's 2 weeks away from being over 1,000 yards. Like, what number would it have to be for y'all to consider him an MVP? Because he might get 25 plus touchdowns here.
So to be completely honest with you, he would have, for him to be the MVP, it would be really difficult because
to consider him for me, not necessarily win the MVP, but like,
to be top 5, I think he'd be close to 2,000 yards and over 20 touchdowns. You'd have to consider.
I think he would have to break the 2K mark, and I think he will. It'll be all-purpose yards, not rushing yards. I think he will break it.
I think if rushing, he doesn't break it, and like all-purpose probably, but I think also it would really get it if he could touch that LT touchdown record, which is, he's on 31? Pace to 31. Yeah, which Breece Hall's 28. So like that. What do you mean? What are we gonna ask? Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, can either of y'all give me one player that's been better than him through 8 weeks?
Through 8 weeks, it's hard because of how impactful are you as a QB, because then you would have to, I think that through 8 weeks, he would be like right there. And I honestly would have to say Drake May has been that, but Drake May hasn't played as good as defenses. So like, but Drake May has been great. That's been 200 yards and 100 pass rating in 7 straight games for him, which is up there with 2 Rodgers seasons that won MVP, a 2004 Peyton Manning MVP, 2018 Mahomes MVP, it was 07 Brady MVP. So every single other person who's ever done this won the MVP that season and is one of the 5 greatest quarterbacks ever. So like, he's been great, and then obviously Mahomes as of late has been, but if you wanted to say Jonathan Taylor so far this season has been the best player in football, I don't have an argument for you. I can't.
He's on a better pace than Adrian Peterson was for his MVP.
Yes, so Adrian Peterson had an insane second half of the season. If you go through that game log, I went through the other day, 120, 150, 210. His second half of the season, kind of what just Jonathan Taylor first half of the season has been. It was an absolutely insane second portion of the season. But if he can just duplicate what he's doing now, he'll get to close to 2,000 yards and over. If he can get to 30 total touchdowns and 2,000 total yards, I think you have a true case for it. And
I hope you have more than a case at 30 and 2K.
No, I'm just saying, like, it would take. I think you would because like the difference in a lot of these teams too. Like Adrian Peterson, when he did it, the Vikings were 10-6, but he was really the reason why they were there because it was Christian Ponder starting at QB. Like the Colts most likely look like they're going to be the 1 seed. So if you add the 1 seed on top of, if they're 13-4 and he did that, I think that's real top 3 consideration and people will actually vote him. It just I think it really depends on, does Mahomes go crazy and does Drake May go crazy? Those would be the 2 guys that I think, and Baker too. I don't want to take Baker out of it. Because if all those guys get to 12 to 13 wins and they each have 35 plus touchdowns or they do things, I mean, May's starting to break stuff that Brady's done. And like when you have that, that's kind of tough to do. And winning an MVP in your second season is a regular thing for NFL quarterbacks. But speaking of NFL quarterbacks playing well.
How regular is it exactly?
Patrick Mahomes did it in year 2 of him. Lamar Jackson did it in year 2 of him. Those are the last 2 I have off the top of my head.
That's probably it, along with Marino, right?
No, Marino did it in year 2. Sorry, being a superstar quarterback. I mean, Joe Burrow got to the Super Bowl in year 2. Let me see something. In year 2, Jalen Hurts, that was the year that he was in MVP conversations and may have won it if Patrick Mahomes, if he didn't get injured towards the back half of the season. So, like, being year 2, making that leap as a quarterback into superstardom is like actually a thing that happens a decent amount. So
I'm talking about MVP though. I'm talking about
MVPs. MVP, Mahomes, and Lamar are the ones that come to my mind instantly. Before that, I would have to look and see. But Lamar and them come instantly, and Jalen Hurts came in second. Those are the ones that instantly come into Marino. But my guy actually is Jordan Love, because I think going into that game, I thought that Aaron Rodgers was going to play, and I thought Aaron Rodgers played fine in that game. I didn't think he played terrible at all by any means. That Steelers defense still is much to be desired right now. But I thought that Jordan Love was going to be good and Aaron Rodgers was going to be a little better and the Steelers were going to win that game. And Jordan Love looked like vintage Aaron Rodgers in a Green Bay jersey. He was throwing the ball all over the field. He had over 350-ish yards, 3 touchdowns. I know a lot of it, too, was run after the catch, and Tucker Kraft had a really good game, but I just thought Jordan Love, everything that he did on the field was great. And that's a big moment on the road in a game that's obviously it wasn't played off as a revenge game, but it's a big moment in a big spot on Sunday Night Football, and it was 29-37 for 360 and 3 touchdowns, did not take a sack. And he made some plays. So I thought Jordan Love was a guy that was a treat to watch.
Love did play pretty well. He was spreading the ball around. Mm-hmm. The only pushback I'll give is exactly what you said, was there was a lot of yards after the catch. Kraft was just running all day long. Mm-hmm. And then there were a few deep shots that I think like almost half of his passing yards came on like 6 throws, and they weren't all like deep shots. They were just yards after the catch style throws. Yeah, he definitely looked good. I mean, if he plays like that, then they're going to be a real contender if they can just stay healthy at all positions and roll there. They've had some issues with health, so I'm a little worried, but I think he can play just like that for the rest of the year. And then they could. I'm still confident. I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. I'm still confident that they can make it there with Jordan playing like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if he's playing like that, they could possibly be one of the 3 Super Bowl favorites in the NFC.
Yeah, I can't get all the way there as far as like saying he looked like prime Rodgers or not like that. I feel kind of tricked by that game, honestly. I thought that was going to be, one of the best games of Sunday. And really that whole game flipped on that non-offsides call that Rodgers got the defense to jump. I believe it was 3rd down, throws an incomplete pass. The refs just completely miss it. And that was pretty much it. And then I think literally the next play, or certainly the next drive, was the Jordan Love throws it up for Tucker Kraft. That could have been a pick. You know what I mean? Like that was the largest play of the game, and it could have and maybe should have been picked. So I'm maybe a little more underwhelmed than you with Jordan Love and just that game overall. But that's maybe because that game left a bad taste in my mouth overall to begin with, because I thought that was going to be the game of Sunday, and it was just kind of meh, and it completely changed after that non-call. So Jordan Love definitely played well. Packers finally kind of looked apart, but it was kind of, to me, it was taking advantage of that call, as you should do, by the way. But I don't know. It was just such a meh game when I thought it was going to be a great game.
Okay. All right, Timmy, team that tricked you.
I have 2 teams here. One is just the Bengals. Like Matt Ryan was kind of outlining how the Bengals make the playoffs. He's like, all right, step 1, all you got to do, win the 3 games that you're favored in. This was one of them. They've already failed. They've already ruined the entire 3-step plan to make it to the playoffs. So that was pretty funny, and they lost in pretty historic fashion too. And then they tricked me. I think they tricked most of us. They didn't trick Vegas. The 49ers looked a little soft offensively. They just couldn't get the ball moving the way that they had been the previous few weeks. So yeah, we're all confused about why Houston was favored by multiple points in this game, and it looked like they should have been from the get-go. They just manhandled them on defense and played solid offense enough to score and win.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to quickly talk about that because Houston was actually my team that really tricked me because I thought that I wasn't sure what to make of their season thus far because they've been injured. The defense has been playoff caliber, 100%, pretty much honestly Super Bowl caliber. That defense has been playing really well all season, and the offense has been much to be desired. They're really missing Joe Mixon out there. They cannot get a consistent running game with Woody Marks and Nick Chubb. It's been up and down at best. Their passing game has been much to be desired for majority of the season as well. I mean, you've had spots where you had no Nico, obviously no Tank Dell. There's not Stephon Diggs there, who is now on the Patriots. It's been a lot of missing pieces. But CJ Stroud, this is a year that if you're that guy, you're a top 10 level guy, you can kind of go out there and prove it. And this was one of those games. I know the 49ers are banged up too defensively, but this is one of those games that I thought the 49ers was going to win. And he proved it to me, and he played a really good game. Over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, throwing to not many names. So like he was really dealing out there, and they controlled the game, and it surprised me for sure. It gave me more confidence that the Texans could possibly try to sneak in as a wild card because in the AFC, 9-8 most likely can get you a wild card position. If he was in the NFC, I think it'd just be too little too late. But in the AFC, 9-8 can get you a wild card. Gave me confidence that this team can put together some wins, the wins that they need to, and get one. And shout out to CJ Stroud. He played really well.
Yeah, this was the reason to pick against the 49ers in this game, was that they could not generate pressure. And that's really the only way this season and towards the end of last season that CJ Stroud has been productive because of his offensive line. I thought the Niners would be able to generate a little more pressure on him. And clearly, I mean, that was really the difference in this game. Like CJ Stroud had all day to throw. Didn't matter that he had Nico or not. Which is why that line was so sharp. I was kind of looking at it as, all right, Saleh's gotten this team post Fred Warner injury. Like that one game they had post Fred Warner, like he still got them to play fast and aggressive. You know, they were able to generate pressure. And I thought they'd be able, especially against this offensive line, to at least make this a pretty tough game. But I think we forget sometimes. I know I forget sometimes. Houston's actually a pretty tough environment to play. They got a pretty good home field advantage. They got a pretty good crowd. And hey, it's still Mac Jones. Like I do think Mac Jones is maybe a starter level quarterback, but I forget if I said this to Brandon or if I said this in the last pod we all did together. But like, I think sometimes we look at these games and we're like, oh yeah, the favorite team here, like they're a much better team. They're going to win. But it's really only the contenders of contenders that consistently go on like 4, 5, 6 game winning streaks. Which is why I continue to give the Lions such credit. I've said this, it seems like a million times during the Dan Campbell era, certainly during the last 2 or 3 years. I've never seen a team handle themselves like such a championship team that has never won a championship. Like they fit the bill. They fit the bill. And if it doesn't happen 100%. For them, I will be completely surprised.
100%.
Transition to my trick team, or go ahead.
No, I was just going to say one quick thing. And one thing I realized in sports betting, like every week, it feels like over the last 4 or 5 weeks that like I'll put like a teaser in, but not like too many legs, 3, sometimes maybe 4. And it just seems like there's a team every single week that I think, oh, that's a matchup I like in this spot, this position, and then they don't come through. And it just comes to the point where I don't trust many teams in the NFL, I realized. Because I don't trust, like, there are like probably a solid handful of teams I've trust. Because like at the beginning of the season, it was like, what is this league? It feels like over the last 3 weeks, we've been starting to figure out where the hierarchy is in the NFL. And it's been pretty, like every year it happens that way. Like I think that there's like not like you can say like this team's 1, 2, 3, but I think that there's a bucket of teams that's this, a bucket of teams that's this, a bucket of teams that's kind of this. So
interesting. I mean, that's kind of what the tiers was a couple weeks back, but I got to say that was week 6 going into week 7, and now we're going into week 9. I can't say I feel too much clearer. There's a few teams where I'm like, okay, I know a little more, but I don't feel a ton more confident than 2 weeks ago as far as like who the playoff teams are going to be. Sure, we could probably pick 3 or 4 from each conference right now, but there's still a lot of season left. I mean, we're about to hit the main stretch of the season here in November, and then especially after Thanksgiving.
To me, there's 4. Like, I could put 4 buckets. The teams that are not good, the teams they're just legitimately unpredictable. The good teams that you want to see a little bit more, and then the very good teams. Like, I don't think there's like a great team yet, but I think that there are some very good teams out there that I am confident that they're going to be in the playoffs, and I'd be pretty shocked at this point if they weren't. So that's for me. And then so I think that you're buckets that you could put them in, and I think that I'm more so solidifying like which team is in which bucket.
I'm a fraud. I'm a fraud because I believed in this team belatedly this week. I don't know why I believed in them. I actually said to Brandon, I said, hey, when I was looking at all the games, like in the preseason, this specific game, I had picked the Broncos to win. Like, no doubt in my mind, regardless of how this Dallas team looked, I was going to pick the Broncos in this game. Pick the Cowboys. Even maybe put them in a couple teasers on Sunday. They can keep it within 10. Why not? Nope. Nope. What? Like, my own advice. That was like when I'm picking for the Broncos. When I pick them to win the division, this is one of the games where I'm like, all right, forget splitting with KC, forget splitting with the Chargers. They are going to win this swing game with Dallas because Dallas is at the least going to be probably a good team. And I said to Brandon, like, oh, I take any finesse team that comes into Denver. I'm going to take Denver over them. And my case kind of was that that the Cowboys have been running the ball a little better, but they've been a little more physical. And Dak's just been flat out one of the 5 best QBs of the season for sure. So I'm like, all right, you couple that with the run game and, the fact that they probably could get physical with Denver, should at the least be a close game. And maybe this is a statement win for the Cowboys. No. Denver ran away with this game. Denver out-physicaled them to hell. And that's what they do, especially at home. And Bo Nix looked pretty damn good himself. RJ Harvey looked pretty damn good himself. J.K. Dobbins looked pretty damn good himself.
Yep.
And I'm feeling great about that division win.
I'm feeling great about J.K. Dobbins too.
Yeah, right. I'm feeling great about the Broncos being a player for that division once again. But I feel like a fraud for picking against them. I don't know. I'm still mad at myself picking against them and picking the Cowboys. And I still think Dallas is a really good team. I think Dallas will be heard from down the stretch this season. But I talked myself out of something I was so sure about, even like Thursday night, Friday night before we did the pod, and I flipped. Not happy.
Yeah.
I also believed in Dallas. I think the way you got to look at it is whoever they're playing, is the offense competent? If yes, then they're probably going to score 30-plus points on them. And then is their defense good enough to hold Dallas to 20-something points? Then if that's the case, you just take the other team. Because Dallas will beat bad teams by scoring 30-something points, but they're not going to beat good defenses like Denver. They're not going to be able to put up those points because their defense is going to allow 40 points against these good teams. And it's not going to get any better, I don't think. So going into it, I think I'm just going to pick the favorites, pick the team who has the better defense. If the opposing team has a defense that's solid, then I'm just going to pick them to win from here on out. So
I don't hate that at all. I'm kind of in the same boat as you. They've moved to the teams that I don't fully trust. Like I have a betting trust and not trust. They're just not in the trust for betting. They're like a every now and again kind of team. But if you're not really, I just can't do it. If you have a bad unit, I just can't. I can't trust you. The defense isn't good. I can't trust a bad unit to do something, even when it makes sense. Like, yeah, can they do this? Can they do that? You talk yourself into it, but yeah. All right.
I will say this. I do kind of, and I alluded to this a couple weeks ago. I kind of think that defense will eventually turn it around. I kind of buying stock in their defense in the second half. If they can make a move. That'll kind of be the main thing, though.
Currently, they don't have the personnel to be good or get better. So,
yeah, they need to be active at the deadline. If they can get anybody that can provide some just physicality, I kind of like to see.
Yeah,
Maybe like an edge rusher or a middle linebacker.
Maybe like a Micah Parsons type of.
Somebody that can put some pressure.
I mean, they wanted to get Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson. Both said no. No, we're not getting rid of them. All right, last but not least, we've got our team that treated us. Timmy.
I'm going to start with the Thursday night game. I think Los Angeles played a damn good football game against a pretty solid defense. There weren't really many points in that game where Los Angeles didn't look like they were controlling the game. And that's with Quentin Johnson getting 0 catches for 0 yards. So they can do it against Minnesota. I feel a little bit more confident in them. I believe it's Pro Football Focus. It might have been another stats page just released their highest graded quarterbacks for the year, and Justin Herbert was number 1. He's been playing damn good football.
I never understand their grading because I would not have him at 1, but that's just me. I know they graded him like turnover worthy plays, and did you make the right read on that right play, and how like all that stuff. Like I understand what they do in that algorithm that they put in there. It's just I don't know. I don't know if I think Justin Herbert's been the best quarterback in the NFL, but I understand that I'm a results-based guy, and they're on a what did every single play look like. So
I think a lot of their woes this last month was just Joe Alt not being there. As soon as he comes back, they start looking like really good again, which makes sense. You know, he's their left tackle right now until Rashawn Slater gets healthy, which won't be this season. But they've just looked really good. And then in a couple weeks here, they'll get Amarian back, and they'll be smooth sailing. They can still definitely win the division. I think they're behind Denver right now, might be tied with Kansas City, but I like their future.
I'm going to pick a little bit of a random one because we did talk about the Colts a little bit. That was the team that treated us. I'm actually going to go with the Tampa Bay Bucks defense. I understand that they were going against New Orleans. Why is this a treat for me? I obviously think that team can get to the Super Bowl. I picked them to get to the Super Bowl. So having a little rooting interest in them doing well, of course, that's fine. And the way that defense was flying around, Winfield should have had 2 touchdowns on the game. Like that fumble really should have, like there's no reason why they blew that dead. Like the defense should have scored 3 touchdowns as a whole in that game. And I think that them alone, it was fun to see. I understand it was against Spencer Rattler and then it was against Tyler Shuck. So I understand if you think that it wasn't but for me in this case, I thought that it was very fun to see that defense flying around in the way that they played. So for me personally, that was a treat. I understand why overall for everybody it wouldn't be as much.
I just want to say to that, I don't like Tyler Shuck's last name, how it's spelled and how
because it's spelled like Shaw, but it's Shuck.
Just like Christian Brown, it's pronounced like it's spelled Braun, but it's pronounced Brown. Like, fuck out of here to both of them, but especially to Tyler Shuck.
Yeah, all Shucks needs to not happen.
Mother Shuckers are apparently his hive, so shouts to them, I guess. But I wonder if we get to see Shuck in this next start. I did not realize he played. Was it 7 years of college? Is that a real stat?
Yeah, no, he was in college when Lamar Jackson was in college.
Wow,
he was the
2
backup
jobs ago for me.
Yeah, he was the backup to Justin Herbert in Oregon.
Yeah, so like he was a rookie, but like Lamar, like he's only a couple months younger than Lamar. Like they're the same age, and Lamar's had a full Hall of Fame NFL career. At the time where Tyler Shuck was just in college, so, like it's like okay, it's really cool. Nah, it's really cool.
I actually don't have too much to say about the Buccaneers defense because it was against Rattler and Shuck.
Fair. So that's very understandable. Very understandable.
But it is a good bounce back spot for them. If that's the case.
Yeah, no,
they look good. They looked really good.
Defense definitely looked good. Offense did not. I've already made my points on Baker. They also took 7 straight rushing attempts from the 1 yard line, and we're not able to score a touchdown.
That was unreal.
Insane.
That was unreal. I've never seen anything like that. Especially that 5 play.
They just
right up the gut. They didn't even put anything heavy in. They just tried to run it, go back.
Same spot every time too. Is just right to the left, like in the B gap. Just nothing.
Kyle, I'm gonna let you speak, and then I have an honorary treat. I don't want it, so you go, and then I have an honorary one.
My treat is the Baltimore Ravens. I found out I was the only one who stuck with them when it came to this Snoop Huntley start. And in large part, the reason why I picked them was because of Keenan's trick earlier, which is Caleb Williams. If this was Ravens at Bears, maybe I flip. But the fact that it was at home, the fact that the Ravens had a ton of time to prepare for young Caleb Williams, I wasn't really deterred off it, especially with Snoop Huntley's past history in this offense. He's won some games for the Ravens. This defense, last we saw, like even, what was it, week 6? They faced, was it the Texans? That game where they actually looked okay, even though they lost. So we saw some encouraging signs.
Wait, against the Ravens defense?
It was against the Rams.
It was against the Rams. The Texans, Texans was 44-10. They took the belt off. They took the belt off. They took the belt off.
That's right. So the fact that they got a little healthier, the fact that they had some time off, the fact that they were facing Caleb Williams, I was kind of ready for this team to, one way or another, if not win, like lose extremely close on a game-winning field goal. And they won. They've got the Dolphins on Thursday, and I think they're going to be right in the mix for. I thought it was going to be for a wild card spot, but I think they're going to be right in the mix for the division, which is insane to say.
They could be possibly leading the division before they play the Steelers again, which is kind of crazy to think because the Steelers have a very tough schedule coming up, and the Ravens have an extremely light schedule. So if the Ravens can actually bounce back, which is also another reason why this Bengals loss is horrendous. If the Bengals were 500, then going into a game against the Bears who can lose to anybody, they could have gone to 5-4 and genuinely had like they still can have a conversation, but they could have a genuine conversation about like, yeah, we played the Steelers this week for the top of the division without Burrow. And then if Burrow comes back, they're drawing dead now, but that loss to the Jets is going to be the one this year for them. But my honorary one, Kyle, I couldn't go with really without the Patriots. Oh man.
Yeah. That was my other pick too, actually.
Because the Patriots second half.
Yeah, the Patriots second half, fine. It's fine. You know what? I don't care. You want to know why I don't care? Myles Garrett had 5 sacks. If you would have told me Myles Garrett had 5 sacks, I would have said we're probably either losing or that game's like 17-13. I would have been incredibly scared if you said, hey, Myles Garrett, sign him up for 5 sacks. Been like, okay, staying away from all of them. But no, Drake May even threw an early pick. And I was like, oh, this is the one. This is going to be the game where we start to falter. We don't look great. And they said, no, we're fine. 100% fine, and they looked very good in the second half against against a Browns defense that has been actually playing well all year long against even good teams. So I was shocked because I thought that this was going to be the game where the Patriots win a slugfest 21-17, but they were moving the ball, especially in the second half for sure, but they were moving the ball at will, doing whatever they want to, and Drake May still becomes the best deep ball thrower in the league by a mile for some reason because it doesn't seem like he can miss a deep ball. It's like impossible for him.
My small amount of pushback, because I agree they look really good. Eventually, he won't be completing a 20-plus yard touchdown down the field for a touchdown every single game for a month straight. Like eventually, that's going to wear off, which is going to make them look a little bit worse. Like I think they're slightly inflated on what their actual offensive output looks like because the last 3 weeks they've had bomb touchdowns that just like Kayshon Boudy's just catching them.
He's been throwing those all year long. You're right. At some point that is going to step that back a little bit, but they have been getting the run game going a little bit more week by week. They ran for 177 yards. And Drake May's not only throwing deep balls, he is throwing the sacks is what started. Like, I don't want him to getting sacked 6 times is not going to be a recipe for success every week. Like, that's just not going to always get it done, especially against these really good teams when you're getting sacked on key third downs and everything. But this is a game, again, I was shocked that there was 32-13. I thought it was going to be, if it was Browns 13, Patriots 21, I had that more in line. So it was a treat for me to watch my team be good.
Yeah, I'd said a few weeks ago when I did the tiers, like with the Pats, like, all right, they got 3 easy games coming up. Would they play this Sunday, Keenan, or do they have a bye?
No, they play the Falcons this Sunday in
That's
New
right,
England.
Falcons in New England. And I said, like, next 3 or 4 games, like,
let's get Kirk.
Wouldn't be surprised if one of these is a hiccup. And they're winning all these games. And spoiler alert, I'm going to pick them against the Falcons for sure on Sunday. And I don't like that one. I'm more confident than this Browns game. Like you said, Keen, I thought maybe this one could be a hiccup just because Gabriel can like spread the ball a little bit and that defense is real. But I knew there was a case for, maybe a 10-point win too. But the fact they won this dominantly, I don't know. This team's a good 10 months ahead of schedule for me. Honestly, I expected this maybe early season next year. And I expected maybe 3 weeks from now, we're going to start winning games that are 50-50. No, we're way ahead of schedule. And that's scary for the rest of the league. Like Tim, I'm not really sure what this team is because of these weak teams that they're facing. So I'm not going to sit here and say like, we're going to do this in the playoffs. We're going to do this down the stretch. I really don't know. But the fact that they're winning against these teams that are either on their level or less than and consistently winning and winning by margin, it's going to build a lot of confidence for them. Regardless of if they're for real this year or not, it's going to build a lot of confidence and maybe they'll blindly play well against these teams. Kind of like that Bills game. That Bills game didn't necessarily play well, but they ended up with a win. And we've seen nothing but their confidence keep rising since then. Other side of that, I feel like we're not giving Myles Garrett enough love. I feel terrible for this guy. They did sign him to an extension. An ongoing topic on the Hype is Real podcast. Shouts to those guys. Shouts to John B. and Ray. They've been talking about, is Myles Garrett the most valuable player that's not a quarterback in the league? Yeah. And the first time they brought it up, I was like, there's an argument for quite a few guys, if you got a healthy number 1 shutdown corner, like it's hard to say. And there's a few guys like Aiden Hutchinson who just got paid today, like a healthy Max Crosby, like Micah Parsons. Like there's a few defensive ends you can make for, pass rushers you can make a case for. I think it's Myles Garrett. I think Myles Garrett has like submitted that. I mean, 5 sacks. Granted, the Pats line isn't that great, which, I mean, that's another reason if you want to buy stock against or sell stock in the Pats moving forward, that would be it. Their offensive line still isn't great. But I don't know. It's hard to argue that Myles Garrett is not the best or most valuable non-quarterback in the league. I mean, he's right there.
No, it'd be him. For a couple years ago, you got a guy like Trent Williams at tackle. He had been so pivotal for whoever he's blocking for. Like guys like that. But I think right now it's hard not to. Like, if you take Myles Garrett off of this Browns defense, they're solid. They're pretty decent, but like they're not this. They're not holding. They're not beating the Packers.
He's the engine that makes it go too. Like he's the engine. So.
Oh yeah, no, he is the guy. He is a freak. And Mark Schlereth said it best during the game. He was like, "Yep, that sack just got him to the Pro Bowl. He's got 10 sacks in the season. Now he can now play another game and be a Pro Bowler." It made me laugh. He's like, "Yep, this game got him to the Pro Bowl." I was like, "You know what? You're not even wrong." Like 13 sacks, 10, 12, 16, 16, 14, 14, 10. That has been his entire career, and 7 in his first year. But, like, there's not much you can say. He's the fastest to get to, seems like every sack number.
Do you remember when Jadeveon Clowney was complaining because when they would scheme their defense, they would put Myles Garrett on the easier matchup and put Jadeveon on the harder matchup? And he was mad about that. He was like, yeah, I'd have double-digit sacks too if they gave me the easy one. I'm going to put Myles Garrett, the best edge rusher in the league, against the easiest path to the quarterback 100% of the time. I will never do it the other way around. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Duh. Hey, if I have a chance to put Justin Jefferson not being guarded by Pat Surtain, I'm going to do it. You know, get him on his third string corner. Anytime a corner goes out and they have the second string guy on their receiver, the next play, it's, yep, target him. Like, what are we talking about? Like, of course you're going to put your best player in the best situations. Duh, Jadeveon. What are we talking about? That's crazy. But yeah. Oh, let's go.
Thursday night picks.
Thursday night picks. It's official now that Lamar is playing. Like, he is officially playing. So we don't have to worry about this last second weird stuff. I got this 30-15 Ravens. Ravens are favored by 7.5, by the way.
Give me Lamar's return, Baltimore 38-14.
Whoa.
I want him to cook them.
I'm going to give the Dolphins a little more respect, which is an ongoing theme for whatever reason. I'm going to go 31-21 Ravens.
Alrighty. 31-21. Well, guys, this has been fun. I'm glad we were able to talk about all these teams and have fun. I hope everybody has themselves a fun, safe, trunk or treat Halloween now. I think that's what kids do these days, which is crazy if you're not going to houses. But I hope everyone has themselves a fun trunk or treat Halloween. This has been the Warner Brothas Podcast. Keenan, Kyle, and Timmy. We appreciate all of you guys. Warner Brothas Podcast on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Appreciate all you guys. We'll be seeing you guys again very soon.